Here are some of the 10 most common things which were once considered scandalous. Starting with number 10, coffee. How can one even think of starting the day without coffee? Coffee was not loved the same way in the early centuries as it is loved now. In fact, in the 16th century Mecca, coffee was seen as a drink that could lead to political and rebellious thoughts, and hence it was banned. If you find that an extreme bitterness towards coffee, consider the case of 17th century European clergymen who considered coffee as the devil's drink because it had Islamic origin at the time of its arrival. Number 9. Umbrellas. Umbrellas protect you and your clothes from rain and from savageness of the sun. But do you know an umbrella can make a laughingstock out of you? Something like that happened with the first man who used the umbrella. It was 1750s, Jonas Hanway, the first man to use the umbrella. He was in the streets of London. Not only he received weird glances from people, he was subjected to ridicule, and someone even threw trash on him to show the courage to use an umbrella on the wet streets of London. As weird as it may sound, during those times people hated the umbrella just because they were a bit too much French-like. Number 8. Bikinis. Yes, we know, even today, bikinis are considered controversial in some cultures around the world, but the swimsuit's origin was no scandal. The early modern string bikini, which consisted of 4 triangles made from only 30 square inches, was designed by Louis Réard in France. He needed models to market his product, but the design was so controversial that 0 models agreed to model in the world's smallest bathing suit as it was promoted. In the end, no one agreed to wear his designed bikini, so Louis hired a local stripper as the model. Number 7. Loans. We all take it, be it for completing higher education or getting the dream house, or to start a new venture. We all take loans from banks for a variety of reasons. It is one of the most important aspects of modern banking. But the case was very different earlier on. Consider the verse 13 of chapter 18 of Ezekiel, and I quote, "He lends at interest and takes a profit. Will such a man live? He will not, because he has done all these detestable things. He is to be put to death. His blood will be on his own head." Lending money to make profit was a crime with death penalty. Today, it is called banking. Number 6. Reading. Reading is a healthy habit which some of us like to keep. Book lovers read in the library, while traveling, and some even read before going to sleep. But this healthy habit was once considered very dangerous, and we don't have to go too far in the history. It was a case even in the 18th century. One of the newspapers even warned its readers not to tempt God by sporting with the most awful danger and calamity. When you have a test approaching, reading indeed feels dangerous. Number 5. Shopping carts. Not only shopping carts make your supermarket shopping experience super convenient, studies show that they also push the monthly sales. No wonder they were made and introduced by owner of a supermarket chain, Mr. Sylvan Goldman. No matter how convenient they are, shopping carts' initial introduction was a headache. People did not like them initially because men, they seemed unmanly. And to women, it reminded them of pushing a baby stroller, which mildly infuriated them. As a result, Goldman had to hire people to push the shopping trolley around the store until gradually people began accepting and using shopping carts. Number 4. Air at night. Have you ever enjoyed sitting at a rooftop at night, contemplating about life while gazing the endless sky? It sounds so beautiful, but it was something that terrified men and women of early times. We all have some degree of fear relating to darkness, but early humans considered even breathing in nighttime air poisonous. The myth was so powerful that it was believed up until the 20th century. People were afraid to stay outside of their home during night. Some didn't even like to keep the window open. It turns out that it was illness caused by several insects, including mosquitoes, which made the humans afraid of the dark for ages. Number 3. Automobiles. Yes, something as straightforward and as revolutionary as automobiles was also one of the most controversial things of its time. People of the early 20th century didn't cherish automobiles because they were worried it would make the youth promiscuous. If you had a car, then it meant you were less religious, obsessed with lovemaking, and had a thing for committing crimes. Teachers thought automobiles distracted students from studies and were primarily responsible for dropout. Number 2. ATM machine. ATM machines, which were also lightheartedly and rightly called anytime money, were once a massive failure. For a long time, people directly interacted with the bank guys for anything related to their money. This window was eliminated after the invention of ATM machines. Launched in the late 60s, they were originally called bankograph. They were installed in the New York City Bank, but people rarely used it. It was such a massive failure that they had to decommission the machine in less than 6 months of its introduction. This massive flop was attributed to skepticism of bank customers when it came to safeguarding their own money. The number one on our list is so common that you will be shocked that it was once considered controversial. And the number one is books. We told you, isn't it shocking? Books are catalysts for human advancement. Something so revolutionary was once considered controversial. When books first began mass printed, a paranoia hit the society. People were worried that books will ruin civilization. Some even warned that they will create forgetfulness in the learners, and children will be unable to distinguish between fantasy and reality. Some even felt that access to books could harm society and foster barbarism. This created a necessity for a system of review and censorship, and this bibliographies and book reviews sprung as a response. They were so much wrong.